As a counterintelligence agent in the US Army, national security was my top priority. But then, as I advanced into my 8th month of pregnancy, more important priorities took over. This is my first pregnancy. I hear stories about pregnancy cravings and laugh, thinking, I'm in the Army. I am so much stronger than that. Cheese whiz, chocolate, and Chinese food? Please. I'm not even a sucker for pickles. But then they hit. Oh, I crave ice cream like a vampire craves blood. As privates in the Army, even with both our salaries combined, we live just about $40 over the poverty level. We plot and plan for extravagant expenditures like sharing the $2 popcorn at the free movie theater on base or splitting a meal at Burger King. To pamper me during this pregnancy, my husband skips lunch for a week to save a little extra so I could have enough to buy a premium ice cream, Ben and Jerry's Chunky Monkey. The combination of the chunks of chocolate and the thick, rich banana cream, perfectly peppered with walnuts. I mean, I love my husband, but if I had to choose, I don't know. When I pull the ice cream down from the shelf and into my basket, I know it won't be long until I would have her all alone in my room doing unspeakable things. I waddle out to our old clunker of a hatchback, gently and carefully packing the precious ice cream in the back, and drive towards the exit, my mouth already watering at the thought of grabbing the biggest spoon in the house and tearing into that virgin container of pure bliss. At the exit, impatiently tapping my foot as it's taking a little longer than normal. Then, oh no, what is he doing? The guard pulls the gate shut and me and my ice cream are trapped. I tell myself, remain calm, think of the baby. I heft myself out of the jalopy and waddle up to the guard. What's going on? The base is closed. There's an armed suspect on post. What? Here? Where? Ma'am, if you'll just get back in your car and wait. Maybe he doesn't understand the urgency of the situation. You see, once you take the ice cream from the freezer, you only have so long before it's just useless foam. Is he damaged? Surely he knows this. He looks at me oddly and says, ma'am, please wait in your car. Wait, where was the suspect last seen? Ma'am, I cannot tell you that. A brilliant idea pops into my head. I whip out my badge and credentials. I am an agent with the 66th MI Brigade. I'll help. Ma'am, stop calling me ma'am. I work for a living. Now tell me where the MPs are. Maybe it's the badge and credentials or the scary pregnant lady yelling at him, but he points me to the right barracks where the MPs have set up a temporary station. I make a quick call to my boss's cell phone. Thank God he doesn't answer, or this might be a very different story. Hey, Sarge, it's me, Maureen. I'm on Williams Barracks and there's an armed suspect. I have my badge and credentials and I'm rendering assistance. I'll call you when it's over. Bye. I waddle over to the MP in charge. Luckily, he's someone I know and have worked with before, or I'm pretty sure he would have sent my pregnant butt waddling away. Hey, Sarge, what's going on? Well, Mrs. Elias, we have an armed suspect on base. Do we have a description of the weapons or the suspect? Who is the witness? He's wearing a dark green hoodie and navy sweatpants, about 5'11", 220 pounds, Caucasian male, approximately 20 to 24 years old. He has a black shotgun and a silver revolver. Oh, can I go speak to the witness? Be my guest. I hear my ice cream crying out, please, I'm melting. I don't know how much longer I can last. I sprint to the other side of the complex until I find the witness. Hi, I'm Special Agent Maureen Elias. Damn, you are huge. How close are you? I got about 4 weeks left. Now, can you tell me more about what happened? As we speak, I see someone fitting the description coming quickly towards us. A normal person might feel some apprehension. Some may feel adrenaline. I was ecstatic. It's about to be ice cream time. But then he's rushing towards us, this huge man who's supposed to be armed. Oh, crap, what am I doing? This huge man is barreling at us. I mean, a wound can protect a baby from a fall, maybe, but not from bullets. I stand my ground, channeling my best angry mom voice and say, stop, do not take another step, I yell, holding my badge up. He froze. Good, now turn around slowly. Anything you say can and will be held against you in a court of law. I began to recite the Miranda rights. Aw, man, what the heck? Seriously, do not say another word and come with me. Okay. I walk him over to the MPs. Okay, here's your armed suspect. Can you open the gates now? I've really got to run. Sure, Mrs. Elias. Thank God. I walked back to my car and my slightly soupy ice cream. Later, I was awarded an Army Achievement Medal for my assistance in the case. And then I was put on desk duty for the remainder of my pregnancy. Apparently, the battalion commander did not think melting ice cream was a good enough excuse for an 8-month-old pregnant woman to be chasing down armed suspects. Some people just don't have the right priorities.
Woo, you're right. Some people don't have the right priorities. I know I do. But let me just tell you now, the Army and I had a bad breakup. Yeah, they let me go. They said, you retired. If we wanted you to have a disability, we would have issued you one. Well, you know, I'm an outstanding soldier, so I got 3 disabling conditions: a brain injury, a spinal cord injury, and a hearing impairment. Yeah. With these hearing aids, the doctor gave me HPV, this human-powered vehicle. Yeah, when I tell people that I'm hearing impaired, they start to speak slowly. I'm like, look, I ain't stuck on stupid. I can't hear you. And if you keep talking slow like that, by the time you finish, I will have forgotten what you were talking about. But since this is Zoom, and I can see your text messages, and unbeknownst to you, I can see a couple of your faces. So I need you to open your mouth wide so I can read your tonsils. And those of you like LaQuantas with no tonsils, yes, I need you to open your mouth wider so I can watch your uvula shake. Don't act like you don't know what a uvula is. It's your mouth ding ding. Slow talker. Man, look, I'm a transformer, okay? It's more to me than meets the eye, clearly. Because I'm like Melissa Stockwell that you're gonna meet later. I'm a triathlete. I swim, I bike, and I run my mouth. And I don't have a caregiver, so I climb mountains of clothes to get into my bed. Yeah, but you know, all seriousness, I'm an incomplete spinal cord injury. So without my wheelchair, I'm disabled in disguise. And then I live with chronic pain. And y'all know how that is, living with chronic pain. Chronic pain is the worst, you know, living on the down low, hip height, you know, where you can see how it's hanging, looking at wedges and smelling butt cracks. Yeah, that stuff, that's the business. So forget pain management. I don't need a prescription. I get high. I wear heels. You too? I know, right? Man, can't nothing get me down then except crop dusting. The smell of shit'll kill you. You know, people are just so judgmental these days. You know, I ride up in my ZL1 Camaro, I hang my placard, and I walk to the trunk, and then here comes Karen. Oh my God, you're not disabled. You're using your mom's placard. I just get my wheelchair and say, show you right. I'm milking that government check. Look, I got 99 problems, and staring ain't one of them. If you need extra time to take in all of this inner beauty, by all means, embrace your inner Nike. But be warned, you look long enough, I might throw in some spasms and spits. Yeah, able-bodied people, they like to stare. And I'll tell them quick, look, you wanna know what's going on with me? Ask. Novel concept, right? But I know you're scared. So I like to roll up on them and be like, boo! Now they really scared. But don't act like you don't see me and step out in front of me, because you're going to lose a toe. That's right. Wheelchairs don't stop on a dime. The last time I put my foot down, I broke an ankle. Now I got 2 disability checks. Yeah, it's just terrible stuff, man. You know, what you don't know about me is I'm RWA. I'm rolling with an attitude. And you would have an attitude too if you had kids. Those crump snatchers. But I only had 1 kid because I'm a quitter. All right, that's my time. I'm Candy Kane.
That was awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so I have a couple questions I want to ask you to talk about this experience, and then we're going to open it up for audience questions. So I came to storytelling because one of my best friends told me, Maureen, I love you so much, but oh my God, you are such a boring public speaker. I'm curious. I know, I love her. These are those friends like they were talking about earlier, the ones that can tell you your truths, right? She is one of those friends for me. But what led you to taking a stand-up comedy class?
Actually, you bullied me when we did this in Colorado last year. That's how this happened. No, actually, you didn't bully me, but you did open my eyes to the fact of that I could speak and I could do comedy through ASAP. And I decided, why not step out on a limb and try it? And I've loved it.
That's awesome.
COVID was truly a blessing because we're able to do it remotely.
Yes, that's true. So what Candace is talking about, she and I are both graduates or alumni of a program called ASAP, which is not the Army Substance Abuse Program, but it's Armed Services and Arts Partnership. You can tell that when they chose the name, they didn't have someone who was better informed in that think tank, but they offer classes like stand-up comedy, storytelling, and improv. And what I noticed as I went through the course and I watched Candy go through the course and other women veterans is how much those arts empower us to tell our truths and sometimes say the things we don't normally feel comfortable saying or want to say. I'm curious, I know that we talked about it because we went through the stand-up comedy class together, which was so much fun. How did you decide on the material you wanted to use for the comedy show?
Honestly, when they told us about having a map and who we were, and I looked at a lot of the circles of who I'm a mother, I'm a speech pathologist, but I'm also disabled. And I was like, I have really bad days, and sometimes you just have to laugh at yourself. And because of that, I said, maybe somebody else could benefit from that laughter as well. And when I talk about my disability, it kind of heals me. And so it makes me feel better about myself. So I decided to use that.
That's awesome. One of the other stories that I have performed is the day I talk about the day my 3rd child was diagnosed with autism, meaning I now have 3 children on the spectrum. And I was really afraid because I didn't want to take any chances of offending the community that I belong to. It's a very sensitive topic. And in that story, I talk about, the grief I felt and the anger I felt and some of those other emotions we don't always feel comfortable expressing. As you chose to talk about some of your disabilities through comedy. Did you have any fears or worries going through that?
Initially, I did. And after I ran it by a couple of my friends, they were like, yes, I feel the exact same way. I think you should share this with the public. And I was like, okay, good. Because I was a little afraid, like you were. I'm like, I'm stepping out on a limb. I don't want to overdo it. But it has definitely been a blessing. And in doing so, I have come, like I said before, it helps me to heal. It helps me to feel better on those bad days.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I know for me, finally sharing that truth about what I felt the day my 3rd child was diagnosed made me feel almost like I'm living a more authentic life because I'm sharing all those little pieces that I don't always share with everyone. And it also creates such a beautiful way to connect. I had someone in the audience come up to me after I shared that story to talk about her brother and living with her brother who had autism, and how she had a lot of those similar feelings, but had always been afraid to say anything about it. And so I think we do a lot to empower others by sharing our truths to then share their truths. We have about 5 minutes left. I'm going to open it up to audience questions, and we're here to ask whatever you'd like.
But I do want to tell you, I'm taking the storytelling class as well. And I've learned that in that part of the arts, it's a little bit different than comedy. And so like tonight, when I share my story, I will share something that I've never shared with anyone else to the public. And I'm looking forward to see how that's going to make me feel once I get it off my chest. All right, we're taking questions.
We did have one question for you to remind people what ASAP stands for.
Sure, it stands for the Armed Services Arts Partnership, and I put the link to the organization in the chat, and they provide those classes for free. Normally they're only available in the DC area, but as Candace said, because of the pandemic, they've moved into online classes. So my comedy class, we had someone coming in from Japan, I think. And so it's really opened up to all veterans versus just the ones in the DMV area.
So military spouses, the veterans and their caregivers are able to join the ASAP program. And yes, it's all free.
I see Lakeisha's on here. Hello.
Okay, they do have a creative writing. They have a writing class as well. They don't have one specifically for writing a book, but they do have a storytelling. They have improv, comedy boot camp, creative writing. They have an acting one now, and they do have the creative writing.
Yes, those are all their 6-week courses. And then they also have like weekend workshops where you can learn different types of, for example, I took a satire writing one. I know they had a spoken word. I think they're going to do a folk tale one coming up soon. So lots of options.
And they said they were going to continue the virtual option because they are able to reach more clientele that way.
And LaQuantis wants to know when the two of you are going to write your books.
Great question, LaQuantis. I'm working on it.
Other questions for these ladies?
So Candace, I'd love to ask you, have the skills that you've learned in the ASAP classes, the storytelling and comedy, has it impacted your professional life or your personal life in any way?
Yes, it has actually. I actually am a more proficient storyteller. I used to be really verbose and I'd go on and on and on around the circle to get to a point. And then with the comedy boot camp, they definitely showed me how to get to the point. Just get there, say what you have to say and be done. And I also learned that in comedy boot camp, you're not there to get a laugh from a person. You're there to give a gift, and your gift to them is to give them a laugh. That's it.
Beautiful. And then I'm going to ask one last question. I think I sent this for Cheryl, but I'm going to go ahead and ask it. What would you say to a woman veteran who's considering using the arts to share her story and experiences?
Do it. Do it. Don't wait. Do it now. Do it now. Because I'm telling you, it is the best thing that I have done. I do a lot of adaptive sports, but this is far most the best thing that I have done.
Yeah.
Last
Yeah, I think
is,
oh, go ahead.
how can we invite you to a local women's veterans event?
Just send me an email. I'll be happy to hop on a plane and fly.
Well, thank you, ladies, so much. That was absolutely, I wish I was a veteran so I could go to the program. That's just fascinating to take people who are doing everyday things and have such a neat experience and a great way to communicate. And And it falls right along with stress management and resilience and all of those things. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And now our next section is the Battle for Balance, Training for Mental Fitness. I'm delighted to introduce our speaker, Dr. Kate Hendricks Thomas. Dr. Hendricks Thomas is a behavioral medicine researcher and master's certified health education specialist. She studies evidence-based mental fitness and peak performance and is the author of several books. Kate is passionate about education, and she teaches at George Mason University's Department of Global and Community Health. Her background as an academic researcher, as a storyteller, and a U.S. Marine Corps veteran position her to communicate to many audiences. She's a writer and researcher at heart, and she writes for a diverse array of popular blogs and newspapers, including NPR, BBC, The Hill, and The Washington Post. And we're lucky to have her with us here today. Welcome, Kate.
Well, thank you so much for that kind introduction and for the opportunity to be here with everyone. I am thrilled to have a conversation about battling for balance. And I was listening a little earlier today as we dove a little bit into resilience and talked about how we manage stress. It's really one of the most important things that we can make time for in our day-to-day. And I've got to be honest with you, especially my research with women veterans, we can be really bad at fitting this in for ourselves. We're statistically more likely to be caregivers of dependent children. We've got a lot of responsibilities and things on our plate, people that we're taking care of. I want to